Hello and welcome back to the Great 78 Tarot Series when we deep dive into the meanings of the tarot cards so you have a much better understanding of what you need to know in order to give an excellent reading. Because I'm going to tell you, I've been reading for over 45 years, and I'm going to also say I learned something every day from these cards. And if you continue on this journey, you're going to feel the same way too. Now, we have this very intimidating death card. Before we get started, please do me a favor and like, subscribe, follow, do all those good things for me. Won't you do that? This card is not probably, I'm going to say is the most widely misrepresented and misunderstood card in the whole tarot deck. And people like to make it scary. I don't believe it's very scary at all. Yes, it can be very intimidating. Look at this guy. But I don't think that. I'm going to tell you something. And this is why I want you to start off with the Universal Rider-Waite or the Rider-Waite decks, because you can really get down into the deep dive based on the illustrations of the cards. When you start branching out and reading from other tarot decks, you're going to see that they're different. But for some reason, and I'm going to show you an illustrative example, look at this card. This is a death card from a 3D deck. And I'm going to tell you something. That thing can be scary and intimidating. Look at his face. And, pardon me, quite frankly, I don't like it. And I don't even read with these cards. I just think that it misrepresents the whole meaning, and this is not to scare people. So, he goes back into the box, but I wanted to share you what I was talking about. But let's get started. The key of this is number 13, lucky 13. But the color associated with this card is a blue-green. The Hebrew letter is Nun or Nun, N-U-N. Pardon my voice, got allergies today. The meaning of this card is fish. The letter number is 50. The astrological or zodiac sign associated with this is Scorpio. The alchemy or the element is water, and the musical note associated with this card is a G natural. Now, some of the attributions of this card are transformation, change, motion, a shift, something ends and something begins at the same time, conversion, development, even growth. It can mean temporary. So you see there's a lot of things with this, a lot of movement with this. This is a very interesting card. I really like this card. I know that sounds silly, but I do. Because just when we think things are getting bad and when this card shows up, it just means, okay, done, cut it, go. There's a little bit more involved than that. But I like to just basically say that sometimes things just, the universe has to step in and say, okay, be done with that. Go, move on. And thank God it happens that way many times. So with this card of transformation and change, this death card encourages us to, embrace the twists and the turns of life and enjoy the fruits of our labor. That's what this means. Enjoy life while we can. Enjoy this. Now, so what are all the meanings? The horse and the rider. Yeah, first and foremost, look at him. The skeleton, you see, he's got kind of a little weird look on his face there. He's in armor. He's in darkness. And he rides on top of a white horse. This is the Grim Reaper. This is the classical embodiment of death. I mean, there you go. Death is an evil force to be avoided at all costs, But in the tarot, death is a neutral force and that is experienced by every one of us. The horse rider, or this skeleton fellow in armor, but he's not armed with a sword. You see that? He's not malignant. He's not violent. He's not scaring people. The horse and the rider has a banner, and it's declaring who he is. And this way, the horse rider illustrates the neutrality of death. Now, I want to talk about this white horse for a minute. Together with the black armor, the horse and rider illustrate the yin-yang of a situation. They are the balance and the enlightenment that the person should embrace. The whiteness of this horse symbolizes the blank page. So basically, you just have a fresh start, brand new beginning, and that comes with the death of old things. Not the physical death, but the death of old things. And it's an illustration of the optimism that we have to face in death. Now, many readers will use this card and say, oh, that's the end for that person. I don't read that way. And I hope that you don't either. This card brings a whole new wonderful meaning to the reading if you can embrace exactly what it really means, and that is there's a new beginning ahead. You're getting ready to transform. There's change coming. Your situation is temporary. Don't get stuck. And that's what it really means. Now, this flag, the only thing this writer has is this flag, which symbolizes harvest. The death of a situation is not a destroyer, but it's a collector. So what are they collecting? Well, memories, situations, lessons, circumstances. But you see, the tarot sees the death as a celebration that we have to cultivate with our time. So as we are moving forward and transforming, we are transforming into a brand new situation, a brand new beginning. The fallen king. Now this is interesting. On the ground, you see this. Let me see if I can make him look here. Right there he is. You see him? The fallen king. There's his crown. Fell off of him. The fallen crown, or the fallen king, I'm sorry, without his crown means that there's an equality in death. Everyone experiences the same thing. Someone may be higher in the statue than the rest of us, but believe me, in the end of a situation, we're all treated equally and the same. There's no gain by being a king versus by being anyone else. And this is a reminder for us to be humble, regardless of a social position. So it doesn't matter how high up in the ladder we are, we better be humble. And that's the way we're all treated by the universe, by God. Now here's a bishop. You see this bishop here. He's looking at this Grim Reaper, the rider. The bishop is representing that death, and despite of material gains, represents experience, and he represents those who are enlightened. But unlike the king, this bishop faces this death willingly because he knows there's a transformation, but he also knows that this transformation and change is nothing to be feared. And that's what I don't want people to be, is afraid of this card. There's no reason to be afraid of it. And I think that's why tarot has a bad name sometimes, because people misuse it. But it's like anything in life. Look at these two girls, okay? The two girls in the corner of this card illustrate two different reactions. Some normal people have in the face of death that they can either embrace it, like the bishop, or they can choose to ignore it, like the king. Choice is not ours to have in this. And basically, we're all going to be treated the same, big and small, no matter how it works out. Now, there's a ship, okay? The ship in the bottom left-hand corner. You see if I can give you this here. You see it right there? It's hard to see, isn't it? This ship illustrates the idea of souls traveling through the sea of death to enter a new life. The ship also reiterates that the idea of death is not an executioner, but a ferryman guiding in the ship, guiding the souls to a greater hereafter. And there, my darlings, is the gate to the greater hereafter. That is the shining gate. This represents the gates of heaven. It is the entrance to the gate beyond and going into the next life. And to enter into it, we have to experience all the lessons, the new beginnings, the wonders, the upsets, no matter however it happens. Death of a situation or ourselves is a necessity in order to pass through. Now, I want to show you something very interesting, and we're going to get to this card. You see that death gate right there? This right here, the two gates, the heaven, everything happy. Take a look at this card. Yes, sometimes we get this symbolism and different cards, and we have to pay attention. This is the moon card. We're going to be paying attention to this later on in our readings, and we're going to be coming to this and talking about this gate of heaven. I want to point that out to you. But for now, this card is really something for us also to embrace. Now, upright. This, again, is one of the most feared cards in the deck. I don't want you to bring that fear on anyone, because there literally is nothing to be afraid of. It reminds us that we need to end a situation or a beginning, end a situation or have the beginning close by so we can end and be brand new. It does not want us to stay in this purgatory. You know how you feel when something ends and it's like, oh my gosh, it just feels like this is going on. No, no, no. It wants us to start something new right away. It means that we have to come to a great resolution that something is coming in our lives, and that we are going to reap the benefits of what we have done in the past, in a situation, circumstance in our life as we go forward. So it says, don't be afraid of change. For the winter, don't be afraid of this change, because the winter comes before springtime. So let's talk about reverse. And you know I don't do reverse meanings, but I'm going to give it to you just in case that's your preference. And it reveals the resistance to change, much like the Hanged Man that we talked about earlier in the last video. Sometimes we are holding on to something and we can't get another perspective. We don't know what to do. We are stubborn, and sometimes we are blind to a situation. And we feel that, well, it's still important to linger on or to hold on. And basically it's embracing and telling us that we need to let go, quit being so bloody stubborn, right? And embrace the change. We are supposed to be fearless and facing the unknown. We are to trust in previous experience of our past and the lessons, and enjoy the fruits of our labor, and we'll get to go ahead to the harvest for next year. You see, so this really just isn't such a scary card after all, is it? So I want to thank you for being here, and stay tuned, because we've got another card coming up, and That is going to be very, very soon. In the meantime, my darlings, thank you so much for being here. And I will see you again next time in this series, The Great 78. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about this guy? See you soon.